Please welcome Martin Edström.
Have you ever been in a truly fantastic place? Some place where you've experienced something profound, perhaps even life-changing, and then snapped a photograph only to realize that that picture didn't really capture that feeling you had at all? Me too. In fact, when I chose to become a photographer, I made that feeling my daily job. Because I've come home with stories from the refugee crisis in the Middle East or the waste problem on Mount Everest, but I've always felt restricted by the frame. You know, you take a photograph, it's one tiny portion of reality. When in fact, to get the full experience and to truly understand something, you need the full experience. You need to be there. You need to hear the sounds, feel the smells. You need to walk around, interact, talk to people, and most of all, you need time. You need time to explore for yourself. That's what I do in the field as a photographer, and that's the experience I want you guys to have. So that's why now I work with not only photographs, but interactive stories and images and videos in 360 degrees. So instead of just placing you, giving you frames of a story, I can put you inside it. I can make you explore a world of stories, a story world that you get to explore for yourself. And today we're going to explore one such story world, the world of the largest cave in the world. And I'm going to take you down into the depths of this cave. You're going to go with the expedition that we did in this cave to create an interactive story that is now online for you all to explore. I first saw images like this a few years ago from the massive caves in Vietnam, and I realized this would be the perfect place to do interactive stories like this. Just imagine giving all of you in the audience the possibility to virtually walk through these beautiful caves. I started researching, I pulled up maps, and I found out the amazing fact that it wasn't until in 2009 that the largest cave in the world was found in this region in Vietnam. How amazing is that? That the largest caverns on this planet have been hidden from human view up until 2009. That's crazy. And just as I was researching this and I wanted to go here so bad, news broke that a Vietnamese tourism company wants to build a cable car system through this cave. Wow, right? Like, we just found it in 2009, and now they already want to build a cable car system through it. That's crazy. So this was, of course, met with a massive outcry from scientists, from the public, and this fight is still going on. Just 2 or 3 weeks back, as President Obama went to Vietnam, he actually talked about Son Doong, about this cave, in his speech in Hanoi. So this fight is still going on. But back in 2014, when this news initially broke, I realized this put time pressure on everything. On the cave, on the scientists that wanted to work with the cave, and on me and my team. Because if we wanted to do this story, create this interactive story from this place, we had to do it now. And this was October 2014, and this is 2 months later. So now we're here. We've planned everything, we're suddenly standing there knee-deep in a river in Vietnam, wading towards the cave. And to give you a hint of where we are in the world, we're in a really remote part of Vietnam, in Southeast Asia. We're in the limestone hills of a national park called Phong Nha Ke Bang. This place is riddled with limestone that makes possible the formation of a vast network of caves. And we're going to go into the largest one of them all in this hill over here. So as we trek through this fantastic landscape, we go for several days through the jungle, the thick jungle, see these rolling hills. It's super beautiful. I could easily go and just do a story about the region outside. But then we suddenly come up to this huge hole leading into the ground. And this was what they found back in the 90s, when no one really dared to go down. I wonder why. And, but in 2009, a few scientists actually did, and they mapped it out. And this is the opening where we rappel down. You see over there in the corner, my colleague Eric rappelling down about 60 meters down into the darkness. And then we're suddenly there, inside the 6-kilometer-long cave, spanning north to south in a very straight line. We've just come in now through the boulders there on the bottom, and this is what it looks like. And you know, we've been looking forward for so long to see the amazing sights inside this cave. So this was kind of our reality check. We're stumbling over a river, one of the first river crossings inside this massive cave, and it's just pitch darkness. I remember looking at my co-photographer as we crossed this river. We both looked really frightened. Like, what are we getting ourselves into? How are we going to do this? But I try at all times to be positive, so I muster all the positiveness I can, and I try to joke and saying, like, come on, you know, we're only in the largest cave in the world. I'm going to try to light it all up in 360 degrees, like no one has ever done before, and then we're going to photograph it in 360 degrees, like no one has ever done. What could go wrong? And that didn't really lighten the mood for him or for me, but we had a plan. We were there to do this. We had to keep on. And just to give you a hint of how many people are actually counting on us at this point, it's me and my co-photographer. We have a videographer. We have a planner. And we have three people whose sole responsibility is to run into the darkness with a light in one hand and a radio in the other hand. They have a fun job, just running into the darkness to light the cave at my command. And that's not all. That's the core team. Then we have 7 more people, 7 guides helping us, including Howard and Deb Limbert, the 2 scientists who actually mapped the cave for the first time that helped us throughout the expedition, and about 40 more people helping us along the way to make an expedition like this possible, for us to take these photographs. So all of these people, these like 60 people, are now in the cave just because of us. Just for this crazy idea to create these 360 images from the cave. And this is what it all comes down to. Because we've come into the first section, the big, vast caverns, the place called Hope and Vision, and we're going to do the first 360 photograph. It all comes down to this. Will the lights work? Will our technology work like we planned for it? You know, there's no way to test this until we go to the field. So this is when we will see if everything works. So we start spreading out. We put the camera in the middle there at the red dot, and the lighting team spreads out throughout the cave. And as we get ready, I go, light number 1. So light number 1 comes up this way. It looks beautiful. Light number 2, and the scene really starts to come together. But we have this massive stone pillar over there that we have to illuminate for the shot to come together completely. So I go, light number 3. Light number 3, please. Oh yeah, we already lit light number 3. Oh my God. I can't even see light number 3. This place is that huge. So at this point, I basically panic. And I start going over the radio to my team, like, you have to climb that hill over there. You have to go higher, higher. You have to illuminate that stone pillar, or this shot we won't make this shot. And my fantastic team, we start climbing this hill inside the cave. And after like a process of 3 to 4 hours, they finally press the button. They finally are able to illuminate that stone pillar. I'm way over there in the distance, in the darkness, and this is what I see from the other side. And now we've finally been able to illuminate that stone pillar as we wanted to. And this is the first 360 image we were able to capture. And this is how it works. This is, as you see now, this is not a video because the camera's moving. This is an interactive image that you can look around inside. So if you go online after this presentation, you can do exactly this online. Look around in the cave as if you were there. You see an arrow comes into view. That's because we're going to be able to click that arrow and move through the cave to all these different locations. But not only did we photograph these images in 360 degrees, so you can look around, we also shot them at an extremely high resolution. That makes it possible for us to zoom in and take a look at every last detail. Like this person over here, standing on top of a stalagmite to give scale to the place. And as we scale back, we're also going to see exactly how this works online, with a map on one side and the info and the text that you can read about the cave on the other side. This is how it works. And when we planned for this, my initial plan with the whole resolution thing, this gigapixel resolution that we have these images in, so we can zoom in such extremely high detail, that was a fun feature for me. That was something cool I wanted to do as a photographer, because I want to give you the possibility to zoom in and have a look at all these cool features. That's cool, right? But what I didn't realize at the time of planning was the massive potential this has for the scientific community working with the cave. Because as we came out, and even as we were inside the cave and started stitching these images together, we realized that the scientists were seeing things they've never seen before. Because even if you've been inside this cave 10 or 20 times, as some of these scientists have, you've never seen all of this stuff. You can't climb this 80-meter rock pillar to take a look at these details. So they were seeing fault lines they never noticed before in the darkness. They were seeing bat nests they've never seen. And finding new stuff thanks to this high-resolution imagery. But let's click that arrow now. Let's move through the cave so we can see some more sights. Now we're actually going to click that arrow and stand on top of the stalagmite, just like that person we can see. And as we stand on top of the stalagmite, we can actually look back. We look back through the same corridor. We see the same stone pillar in the distance. And here we see a person. Several of these passages inside Sundong are actually large enough to fit a Boeing 747 flying straight through. Quite massive, huh? But then again, there's something even cooler about this cave. It's not only the size, it's not only that it's the world's largest cave, it actually has one more astonishing feature. Because you're going to see daylight now as we turn around. But this is not the exit. This is actually quite in the beginning. This is absolutely not the exit. But this daylight comes from the fact that in two separate places, the rock ceiling of this cave has collapsed, letting daylight in and making it possible for life to form. So as we move towards this, oh, by the way, another scale reference. You see our row of tents there on the side? Yeah. Because this opening is like 100 or 150 meters tall. But as we move through this, towards this opening, towards the daylight, we get to enter this really surreal part of the cave. And as you can see here, my team is suddenly we're like climbing a hill, still deep underground, to emerge onto a plateau inside the cave. This was very surreal, seeing the sunlight coming from above, even though we know we're deep underground. And as we emerge onto this beautiful stalagmites and we see the grass coming, we emerge onto a forest. Because there's a forest growing inside this place, thanks to these massive holes in the rock ceiling. You see the light coming in from above. You see trees growing over 30 meters tall. And there's an actual jungle you can walk through. And as you explore this online, if you go online into this story, you can walk around inside the jungle. And just like we did on the expedition, you can actually get lost. Because as you walk in here, you see this is a thick bush. This is, you get palm trees all around. You're standing in the middle of the greenery. And it feels like you're outside. It feels like you're in the jungle again. The only way to realize you're actually still inside a cave is to look up. To see the ring of light above you, the mountain walls around you, and to realize that you're actually inside the cave. But my favorite place, or my favorite location within this cave, is at an intersection of sorts. Because now we're standing, where we're looking now is, we're in between the oldest and the newest part of the cave, or two very different parts. Because looking this direction, you're seeing the dead and dark direction. It's not dead, of course, there's loads of microbial life, but there's no life as we know it. There's no sunlight. If we hadn't used our artificial lighting, you would see nothing here. It would be pitch dark. But as we turn, we get to see the effect that sunlight has, or has had on this place over hundreds of thousands of years. We get to see what's possible even inside this deep, dark cave when sunlight comes in. Because we get this absolutely alien landscape and these stalagmites that have formed from water dripping down over hundreds of thousands of years, and that is now covered in a thick greenery. And most of all, it turned out to be, as a photographer, the most beautiful sight, the most iconic image of this beautiful cave that really needs to be preserved. And as we came out, I've only shown you a few portions of this story. So you can go online and explore over 30 different places inside this cave. We came out with close to 1 terabyte of data, loads of images that we had to stitch together to make this whole 360 story possible that you can now explore either in a browser or through a virtual reality headset. And my great hope with this is that now I can finally get rid of that restriction of the frame I was talking about. I can finally place you inside these important stories about our precious planet. Because I know if you've ever been here, virtual or not, you will never want to alter this cave. If you've seen the majestic sights inside this cave, you will realize what an insane idea it is to build a cable car system through it. So I know if I can just get you to feel like you're actually there inside this virtual world, you will be inspired enough to care about the real one. Thank you very much.
Yeah.